Good afternoon. This is the LouRaePodcast. My name is Austin Corus, and I'm your host. Today, my guest is Cole. He's a local film photographer here in Louisville. Cole, thank you so much for coming in, and welcome.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Of course. So, you didn't actually grow up here, right?
Correct. Yeah, no, I grew up in a town called Janesville, Wisconsin. I lived there for about 9 years of my life, and then I moved to Chicagoland area.
Yeah. So, what made you come down here then?
I came here initially for school. I go to U of L. That's what brought me here, and I'm still here. I'm stuck. I got work. I got a girl, so I'm still here.
Yeah, that's a pretty common story around here.
Yeah, yeah. So I've heard.
Yeah. So, did you come down for photography?
I did not know. Really, I didn't start taking photography seriously till probably about 2 years ago, I would say, tops. And seriously is used loosely. It's still kind of just a hobby to me.
But you have photographers in your family, right? With your grandparents?
Yeah, they definitely did a lot of photography throughout our childhood, and still everywhere they go, they've got the camera with them all the time.
Do you have any other artists in your family? Are you kind of inspired by that, or do you have anybody that experiments like you do?
I would say from the same family, same grandparents. My grandmother, she paints. She hasn't in a while, but she used to. So that always kind of inspired me a little, I guess. I would see her pictures painted around houses, and it was really impressive stuff. I know I couldn't do it. So yeah, I guess maybe not so inspired, but admired.
Yeah, because as a kid, you never really saw yourself as delving into any kind of artistic mediums.
Yeah, that's pretty much the story. When I still lived in Wisconsin, I thought possibly I would like to draw, but I didn't stick with it. I wasn't that great. I could, sketch a thing that I was looking at, but I didn't really have any creative inspiration as far as pen and paper went.
Yeah, so you kind of just fell into it, or how did you get into photography then?
I guess really, not so much a person or thing inspired me, but I guess a place. I would say when I went to Colorado with a few of my friends, I brought with me two disposable cameras, one waterproof one that people bring like to water parks and stuff, and then one just standard. And I shot a lot of pictures there that just turned out interesting, different than all of our iPhone pictures that we took there, and I liked the feel of the grain and the color and the tone. It just was different, and I stuck with it from there.
What made you continue on in that kind of vein then? Was it just natural to you, or what kind of stood out to you?
I think before I started shooting film, I was always taking pictures on my phone, not so much of people, but of things, just things that I thought were cool. And I guess once I took that to film, it became a little more focused and, you know, something I became more passionate about.
So your friends kind of help give you an outlet in those travels and talking with them.
Yeah.
And you also were inspired a lot by the people you found in the Louisville local community as well, right?
Yeah, definitely. Two of my friends here, Ryan and Isaac, are both really good photographers here. I met them through the skate shop, and they just had a different style that I didn't see growing up in whatever the suburbs of Chicago. And they brought kind of different light to photography that I didn't see there. When I think of photography back home, I would think of, a photographer for like family photos, which was like my least favorite thing in the world. But then I came here and I saw more of kind of an abstract photography, artistic style. And that definitely, I saw that through Ryan and Isaac because that's what they do and they're good at it.
So how would you describe your photography then?
Um, I, I would say I sort of street, but I also like to shoot landscapes. I'll shoot a portrait. I mean, I'll shoot anything. I don't really narrow it down to anything because it's just what stands out to me, really. Like, it could be a person, I guess, which is rare. But I told you yesterday we talked about some guy I saw in Florida on some crazy bike and wearing a top hat and a cape, I had to take a picture of that guy. Or, the cat in a window, but usually there's no true subject to my photography. It's just what I see and if I've got my camera in my pocket.
Yeah, you called it point and shoot.
Yeah. And I definitely will say that's the case because I won't take like full credit on being like a skilled photographer. I shoot like auto everything, take it out of my pocket and just shoot. It's auto flash, auto focus, auto everything. But I think it's more the vision is what I'm going for. And I'd love to learn that stuff, but I'm just not there yet.
Yeah, so right now you're kind of living right in that moment. Like you don't really worry about any flaws or any imperfections. You just want to capture something.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that's part of why I love film is because I don't even get the chance to sit there and critique myself because I won't see it for 2 weeks or 3 weeks or whatever, months. Just depends on when I get it out there.
Yeah, what do you think it is about the difference between digital and film that draws you more towards film at this point?
Well, definitely the weight. I mean, it's nice to see the picture right after you take it. I prefer to like relive it, like I said, whatever, 2-3 weeks later, just because I get to, look back at something instead of look at a picture and not like it and then forget about it or delete it. It's still cool. Even if I don't love the pictures, it's still cool to look back at whatever I was doing that day or where I was or think about what stopped me. Yeah.
I think we take so many photos, especially because it is so easy, that it almost becomes fodder at some point where you take so many and you're hoping to get maybe one or two, but the sheer quantity of it all gets lost, and the meaning behind any kind of one photo doesn't really hold as much value as something that you only have 36 shots in a standard roll of film to capture.
Yeah. And I definitely appreciate that aspect of it, and definitely one of the reasons why that's what I do for now.
So you find that you slow down a lot when you have your camera with you? Is it kind of a thoughtful process, or I know you have point and shoot, but are there times where you find yourself framing shots or anything like that?
Yeah. Sometimes I'll see something that I don't have my camera, and I got to go back. I have to take a picture of that. Like that was something that deserved it. Or, I mean, sometimes I guess when I have my camera on me, I do slow down more. I will pay attention to more because I do have some intention or hope at least to take a picture if I have my camera on me. But a lot of times I have it in my pocket and shoot nothing because it costs me. So if it's not something I really want to shoot, maybe I'll take a picture with my phone. But at this point, like you said, there's just too much.
I think, especially with film, since we're talking about that, you can't edit on the fly either. You get one shot, and like you said, sometimes you don't even know what it'll look like. You have a small window with which you view. What do they call it?
The viewfinder.
Viewfinder.
Yeah.
So you have a small viewfinder that you have to use, and that's about as best you can get to line the shot. You're not quite sure how it'll turn out, what kind of colors. As you're maybe building a relationship with the camera, you can figure that out. But as you're kind of all exploring this, it's really a new experiment every time you take your camera out.
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, yeah, that little window is whatever, a quarter of an inch by a quarter of an inch or something like that. It's very small. It's dusty. It's got my pocket lint in it. It's more of, hopefully what I see. And then there is some, luck to it as well. There's reflections that just hit at the right time. There's things that you can't help. I was taking a picture at the wedding I was at this weekend, and it was like the back of this little girl's head with the couple dancing in the background with their hair and like all the, and right as I took the picture, of course, the little girl can't sit still I didn't tell her to, I was just taking it, and of course, right when I took it, she moved. I was like, so there's the bad luck and there's good luck, and there's definitely just moments that you can't choose.
Yeah. Well, that's life, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And that's a nice thing about film is that it reminds you of these kind of moments that you hope to capture, and even if you don't capture it maybe perfectly, the flaws in it make it more human in that way.
Yeah, yeah. And I try not to beat myself up too much, it just in general. So yeah, I definitely prefer that. And it's nice to go ahead and take a picture, and everyone's like, "Let me see it." And I'm like, "I'll send it to you in 2 weeks, 3 weeks."
I'll get
Everyone
back
wants
to
to
you.
see, and they're like, "Oh, what?" And I like that aspect too, because that's cool. Other people forget too. It's not just me who's looking forward to seeing what got shot. The people that were there, they all want to see how things turned out, just like me.
Yeah, it gives it a bit of an excitement.
Yeah, it does. I see that's kind of becoming popular at like events and stuff. They're putting out those disposable cameras, and they're just like memories. They're not so staged, and with everything that feels like it can be, film kind of can't.
With all that we've talked about with film, there's a lot of challenges to it though as well. Like you said, I mean, it takes a lot of work and effort to not only find film, get these old cameras to work in the ways that you want them to, running out of film, finding people who can develop the film and frame it the way that you need to, waiting for it. It seems like a lot of work. Is it really worth it?
I would say so for sure. I mean, for me at least, because long before I was here, it was just for me and for my people. It was just in my gallery or on someone's Instagram story. I was still doing it when there was no shot of putting it anywhere. So I would say so, yeah. For me. Maybe not for everyone. It can be costly for sure, but it's fun. Why not?
Tell me more about how you actually shoot. I know sometimes you just see something. Is it just pure instinct then? Or do you find yourself being drawn to certain scenes or certain motifs or anything?
I would like to say that there's not anything that I'm looking for, but there are common themes that I do find myself shooting. I'd say, you know, older architecture I'm definitely into, just because on film everything turns out so sharp and detailed, and I really like the way that looks on film. Statues I've shot. I mean, it's so random. Doors, windows, fountain, kind of really just anything. Friends, nothing I could put a finger on. A stained glass window, another window.
Well, everything you described sounds like Louisville.
Yeah, it definitely is. I don't struggle finding things to shoot at all here.
What do you think it is about living here that, I don't know, makes you want to capture it?
The fact that it's so hard to capture. I mean, every turn you take is a different scene. And I mean, I'm starting to think more like an artist, as little as I consider myself to be one. But I do like to think that there's a lot to capture. And Louisville, it's like, if you take a picture of one side of the street and the other, you wouldn't even know sometimes that you're in the same like state. So it's just super different everywhere. And it's easy to find things that stand out because it's a very eclectic city, and there's a lot of different things here, and people and places and cars. I mean, I just see a lot of different things everywhere I go that make it easy.
Can you give me an example? Maybe like just walking down the street. What on average day might you see that you'd love to capture?
Well, one thing I was really excited to shoot was like super random. It was on around St. Patrick's Day weekend. I was looking off, just, on the balcony with everyone else, and looked off, and there was a green shamrock balloon with those nylon ones, the shiny ones, and it was like stuck on a fence, like a wooden fence by a birdhouse. And to me, that was like perfect. I was like, that needs to be shot. And for other people, that's like trash on a fence. But so certain things just stand out to me that might not to others. And maybe after the fact, it stands out to them as something that was worth being shot. And that's cool to me.
It's good to keep your eyes
Yeah, definitely. And up, off your phone. It's hard. I'm always on my phone, so it's nice to just be out there, be looking up.
Yeah. Yeah. It makes you live in the moment.
Yeah.
So what else has photography done for you? Because I remember you telling me when you were a 16-year-old kid, you were kind of listless. You weren't quite sure what you were wanting to do. Didn't have too many outlets, had a few hobbies, but nothing really stood out to you. So what has photography given you?
Well, just like going back to when I was 16, I was on teams. I was in sports that, I liked doing what I did, but I didn't choose that. I chose to keep doing it, but, I didn't introduce myself to football and baseball. That was something that I was raised to know and love. And I, still very much appreciate those things and those moments and all of that. But photography is something I chose for myself. And that to me is pretty just independent. Like, to be independent and choose things for myself is big for me, as my friends and family and girlfriend know. I'm hard-headed. I could be stubborn and to do things my way, and so that's one of the things that I chose for myself, along with skateboarding. Is like, none of my people do it, but I wanted to, and I did. So that is what it is to me, is kind of just choosing who I want to be and doing it, and kind of having a thing I wanted to do, and being a beginner and going into the beginner stage. And that's never, fun, but it's necessary for sure.
And the people here inspired you to do that.
Yeah. So, yeah, my friends there, no one did that. But I put myself in a place where I got to meet cool people, really through skateboarding, that I got to meet cool people who kind of showed me that, just do it. Do like whatever you want to do. I know all kinds of different people just through, the skate shop and the skate park, and people I've met along the way, that everyone's so different that it kind of just shows it's just a community. You don't need to all be the same person. You just need to like the same things, which is cool.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, there's a great community here of artists, and I think if people just looked a little bit harder and reached out a little bit more, they would see that.
Yeah. We all got to get out more.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good advice. What else do you think you've learned when you've lived here, in terms of community or individualism, things like that?
Well, I would say, yeah, just the sense of community here, I would say, is so strong. And I think that's a part of like living near the city and stuff. When I lived in the suburbs, it's chains and, big, corporation kind of thing that runs the little suburb. But in the city, there's so many small businesses, and like, not even just business. I mean, the guy that is doing my prints, his name is Lake. Shout out Lake. But he does it out of his house, and he does it all. Like, he's doing it full time now, which is just crazy. So to be able to like support the people who are doing it on their own is super cool. And everyone here does that for the most part. At least the people that I know, they'll shop small and pay cash at the small businesses and support the local skate shop. Shout out Home Skate Shop. But it's much more of a, even though it's bigger, it's tighter here than, my little suburb.
Yeah, you learn a lot more here, and you're exposed to so much diversity that it makes you change and it makes you grow, almost out of necessity.
Yeah, definitely for the better. Just to learn what's all going around, what's going on in the world, that you don't get to see in your small town.
With that all being said, what do you think you want to work on now? I know we have your prints at the gallery here. Do you have anything in mind that you want to kind of continue your growth towards?
I would say, yeah. So far, I feel like to me, each roll of film that I shoot has more and more like intention, and they all are starting to turn out better and better to me. At least they're more of what I'm looking for. Every roll, as of late, I feel like has been shot with more intention and more passion, especially just since I've been here, considering now what other people might like to see, which is, it's fun for me to do it that way as well, just because I'm just looking around more, you know. But I feel like they're all, depending on where I am and what I'm shooting, I feel like each roll is kind of getting better, or at least more of what I want it to look like. There's always going to be exceptions. Like this weekend, I brought my camera with me to the wedding I was at, and I wasn't the photographer by like any means. It was like random. I couldn't tell you what's on the roll. Like it was the house we were staying at, the reception, the rehearsal, the dinner. I had it on me, and that's going to be kind of more of like a personal role. But then there's other things that kind of fall into place while I have intention of those roles. Like, actually, I'm remembering now, like, when we were going to the after party of the wedding, there was a basketball hoop, like, in the middle of, like, the hotel parking lot or something, super random. And that's what I spent my last photo on while I was, like, at the wedding on the way to, like, go to the party. And everyone was like, no, they were so mad. But I was like, it had to happen. Sorry. That was the one, yeah. But, yeah, I just feel like lately I've been more focused on doing it in general.
Yeah. Just continue on.
Yeah.
And see where it goes.
Yeah, do more. I mean, get bigger prints. We talked about that. And just keep doing it. Yeah.
That's all really exciting stuff, and we can't wait to see more from you. Is there anywhere people can follow you and keep up with your prints and your photography?
I made a photography Instagram page that by the time this is up, hopefully is established. I got to do some work on it, but that's where I'm going to put my stuff, at least the stuff I'm proud of. It is c.turner.film. Like I say, I do this partially for myself, but if someone actually, you know, likes my vision and wants stuff done for them, I don't have any problem doing that. I actually enjoy it. It's something that takes me kind of out of my comfort zone, and that's something I tend to enjoy, as long as it has nothing to do with school or, you know, I'll do it for work, but school, no. But yeah, if it can get me out of my comfort zone and can make other people happy, you guys can find me there, I guess.
Well, Cole, thank you so much for stopping by. It's been great talking to you about photography and your point and shoot style.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It was fun.